welcome to the community briefing. And we are now live streamed and we are live to you coming from the city of Los Angeles. Today's community briefing. My name is Gregory Sneed, and today is the 1st of June, June 1. So we have one more month left in the second quarter of the year. Say goodbye to May. May is gone. June is here and we are ready to rock and roll. So, my name is Gregory Sneed. Welcome to the community briefing. Name of my company is Lifesaver Financial Services. I help my clients to keep more of the money they make by helping them to be more efficient with spending and through other financial products and services. Also, a financial coach and financial literacy trainer. Because I firmly believe that when you feel better about your money, you feel better about your life. Now, it's my pleasure to welcome to the virtual stage the queen of our community briefing. You need a song or trumpets or something. The queen, Crystal Mitchell.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the community briefing. Glad to have you here. Oh, we got an exciting guest today. I've been looking to get my clients to this level. Oh my God, I don't know how you did it, but girl, I want to take you and clone you and take whatever juice you got and put it into these clients that I have because that's amazing. And so you guys, this is going to be exciting. So glad to have you. I'm Crystal Mitchell. I'm the co-director of Recycling Black Dollars. I'm also the inspiration for the community briefing. This platform was inspired because I felt that we really, our community really get the information firsthand. We usually get it when it's kind of old and stale and we can't do anything with it and we miss out on everything. So during the pandemic, I wanted to make sure that we were definitely with the people that are sitting at the table that were handing out the money to make sure that everyone could at least be able to apply in a timely manner in order to get it, in order to be at least to apply for it. So that was the purpose of the community briefing in the very, very beginning. And then it came about and it just materialized into this platform where now we're networking and growing. And it is my utopia that one day we have one voice and all that voice looks like us and we're all voting together. We're all speaking our mind and we're making sure that we're making a better place for not just ourselves, but for that next generations that's coming up after us. And so that's so important to us. So this is a platform where our leaders and stakeholders, they come together, we bring them in, they talk to you. You have firsthand information coming from them, and you also have contact information so that you can reach out to them so that you can actually make sure you're doing and running a very successful business. I have a couple other podcasts besides this one. I have the Business Zone with Crystal and Gilbert. You can find me every Friday afternoon at 3 o'clock on YouTube. And I also do a show on retirement with a retirement specialist. It's called Conversations on the Patio. So that is who I am. We have a fantastic team here on the community briefing, Mr. Gregory Sneed and Mr. Stephen Turner and Miss Robin Billups. And right now we need to make sure we're sending many, many prayers to her. She's in a clinical trial and actually in the hospital right now. So let's pray for her and make sure everything is working. Her T cells are up high and she is back to us soon. We want to give honor to our sponsors. This is powered and sponsored the platform by Recycling Black Dollars and the Black Business Association, but our monetary sponsors are the Los Angeles LDC, Southern California Edison, Wells Fargo Bank, PCR, and there's another one behind me. I can't remember what it is. I think it's SoCal Gas. I think it's back there. So I want to thank everyone for coming, and I want to say hello. And with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Greg.
Right on, right on, right on. Okay. So, our guest today is April Showers, and she's the founder and CEO of Afro Unicorn. And unicorn is a term that I use often. And sometimes people ask me, what's the best retirement plan or the best thing to do? And I always say it's a unicorn. It doesn't exist. There's no best thing. It's everything is tailored exactly for you. So I'm interested to hear your version of unicorn. and I like the logo. I saw your logo. It's very cool. So, Afro Unicorn is a brand designed to represent the uniqueness of women and children of color in a truly diverse and inclusive fashion. April is a lead by example creator who works to uplift, advocate, and inspire women and children of color to achieve greatness. She's focused on fusing her passions with her life's purpose to help other female entrepreneurs on their journey. She's an established real estate agent, an insurance business owner. She also has the entrepreneurial spirit. She was inspired to start Afro Unicorn following a conversation with a close friend who referred to her as a unicorn for her ability to balance two business ventures, her children, and a bustling personal life. Well, we may skip on that one on the broadcast today, but you can share a little bit about this. While still being motivated to do more, she's prompted to use her favorite emoji, the unicorn, which is only available in white and lacks representation. She started working with a graphic designer to create a unicorn of her likeness and in turn created multiple shades to represent a range of women of color, and Afro Unicorn was born. Speaking of born, I have no idea where she was born and raised, where she's from, and she'll be sharing that. Where you're from? Are you from Los Angeles?
I'm from South Central Los Angeles.
She's from South Central Los Angeles. All right. So I guess with that, we will turn over the mic to you. Please join me in welcoming to the virtual stage Miss April Showers.
Well, thank you for that warm, enthusiastic introduction. I am April Showers, the first Black woman to have a licensed brand character in major retail. The brand is Afro Unicorn, and I brought with me my general manager of Afro Unicorn and also my partner, Askia Fountain. And yeah, we have been growing Afro Unicorn. I launched it as an e-commerce brand in 2019. We went into retail last year. We are now in 7 different retailer chains, as well as about 25 different categories. What were you going to say, Askia?
No, that was it.
Okay. So, any questions you guys want to talk to me about? Because I can sit here and just go on and on and on about me, Afro Unicorn, but I want to make sure I'm
Well, that's
providing.
exactly what we want you to do. Take the next sort of 10, 15 minutes or so, talk about Afro Unicorn, what it means, why it's important, a little bit more about the
Inspiration.
distribution, where we can find it, how it's made an impact to young folks, has it made an impact to old folk, in the middle folk, brown folk, black
Right.
folk, light
So
skinned folk.
Afro Unicorn is a lifestyle brand to remind women and children of color how unique, divine, and magical we truly are. My goal from the beginning was to help normalize Black beauty, to give our Black and brown girls and women a unicorn that looks like them so they can represent the skin that they're in and embrace the crowns on their heads. What I mean by normalizing Black beauty is that forever we've had a European standard of beauty. We've never questioned, can we rock Cinderella or Snow White or any other character? It's just been normal. So I created Afro Unicorn to be that normal. I want a brown, beautiful unicorn in all 3 shades. To answer your question, Gregory, it's all 3 shades. I wanted us to be represented and to look for it to be accepted as being normal. So that is what Afro Unicorn stands for, to help normalize Black beauty and to give representation where there really wasn't any representation before. We do cater to 4 quadrants, which is the cradle to the grave. That's everyone as far as ages are concerned. I say that children like to play with unicorns, but women identify as unicorns. So that is how we're able to hit all aspects. I originally launched, as you mentioned in your introduction, I launched Afro Unicorn because I was being referred to as a unicorn because I do own and operate an insurance agency. At the time, I was an active real estate broker. And like you said, a friend kept referring to me as a unicorn. So for me, I said I wanted to create something where I can inspire other women entrepreneurs, where I can, now it's everyone, where I can really inspire entrepreneurs and have them find that unicorn in themselves. Because I really believe that a unicorn is somebody that's unique, divine, and magical, which is part of our hashtag. So our tagline. So for me, it was just making sure I created a platform where I truly was supporting and uplifting others. A lot of times people want to know, how did you get into Walmart? How did you get into Target? I built a community. I built a brand, and they found us because I was very consistent, very persistent in building a brand. A lot of times people don't understand what it takes to actually build a brand. You have to be able to connect to your customers on an emotional level to build a brand. And then you have to stay consistent. You have to show up every single day. They have to know that you're going to be there. Since 2019, every single Saturday, I show up on Saturday morning sharing small businesses for free in our stories when we only have 50 followers. And I've been committed to it. So they know what to expect. So a lot of times you'll see a lot of brands that come and that they go, and then you'll see they lack consistency. They'll start with advertising, or they'll start with posting, or they'll start with engagement, and then somewhere down the line, they fall off. I truly believe that we control our own reality. Like, we can make our own dreams come true, but you have to have so much conviction in what you are doing, and you have to be consistent, and you have to put in the hard work. Like, there are no other options. I cannot give you my golden black book of contacts and you think that I give you the buyers' names, you're going to have the same results. If you lack consistency and hard work, it's just not going to happen. Again, like I said, Gregory, I could take this in a lot of different ways. I'm usually best with questions and answers to make sure that I can best service who needs to hear. There's so much with Afro Unicorn. It's so many different levels. You have the representation part with children, but then you also have what I'm trying to teach as it relates to entrepreneurship and getting into major retail. There is no secret. Like, the secret is hard work. The secret is consistency. There is no contact that's just going to get you there.
Is there one singular unicorn? Or are there multiple unicorns? Do the unicorns have names?
So the unicorns are, the three core unicorns are unique, divine, and magical. Those are their three names. But we have three books coming out this September. I have 4 publishing deals, so you'll see more characters being developed. We have animation. Let me pause and go back a little bit, because a lot of times when I say a licensed brand character, I've learned, especially dealing within my community, that truly don't understand what that is and what that means. I sit on the shelves with Disney, Marvel, and Nick. Those are my direct competitors as a licensed brand character. Afro Unicorn is basically the modern day Hello Kitty. So just to really kind of wrap everyone's mind around what Afro Unicorn is, what my position is, how it's so significant in this industry. My competitors, again, are Disney, Marvel, and Nick. That is who we sit on the shelves, and that's what retailers we're in. That's who we're on the shelves next to at Walmart. We have party supplies, we have swim, toys. We have 22 SKUs in party, 30 plus SKUs in swim. We're in about 15 categories currently. We're in cakes, dropped at Walmart originally, but now you can get them at all your major grocery stores. So your Kroger's, your Vons, everywhere there's a photo book. So everywhere you can go, say you want a Batman or Spider-Man, whatever, you can find Afro Unicorn. That is what a licensed brand character is. I do not have a warehouse where I'm manufacturing and packaging orders and shipping them out as a licensed brand character. We give the rights to a manufacturer to be able to produce the products in a certain category. And in return, we get an MG, we get a royalty, and we're 100% owner of the brand. We make all creative and quality control decisions. Nothing goes in or out without our approval. So it's a whole different ball game again, I'm the first Black woman to do it. So a lot of people, I'm talking in complete, foreign language when I talk about a licensing character brand. But I say I'm basically your next Walt Disney, but better.
That's great. Awesome. Fantastic. So tell us about you. I think you said unique, divine, and magical, right? So tell us about the three of them. I guess let's start with divine. Tell us about divine.
So I really haven't got into character development yet, because our books, I mean, we are in character development, but we haven't expressed their characters yet until the books drop in September.
Okay.
So the brand isn't really about, it is, you have unique, divine, and magical, but that's not the main focus of the brand. The brand is that we have a unicorn that represents who we are. For the longest, there's been a white unicorn. So now we have a brown unicorn that represents who we are. And that's why I launched it, to find those other people like me that were single mothers of children that were running businesses and were getting it done, because that's why I was being referred to as a unicorn. So as far as characters, I mean, I could sit here and talk about Ariel and all, I mean, but it's way bigger than just their unique, divine, and magical. It's a whole movement, and it's something that has never been done before, not by a Black woman. Another thing that Afro Unicorn is focused on is building up other brands. So part of us learning this licensing world, which is a very small knit community, they're all in New York, they all know each other. We decided that we're going to take that knowledge and help other Black brands come into this field that we're in. So with my partner, Askia Fountain, we've created Afro Unicorn Entertainment, and we're bringing up brands. Our first brand, this is actually how I got into Afro Unicorn. This is 4-year-old at the time, Cassidy Brianna. We just launched her book, Thank You, It's an Afro. Basically, she was doing a video in her clothes of Afro Unicorn. That's what it's all about. It's a grassroots brand where people just take photos and their Afro Unicorn apparel. Someone walked by her and said, "I love your hair," with all the confidence in the world. At 4 years old, she said, "Thank you, it's an Afro." So when she said that video went viral, from Viola Davis sharing it to Tina Knowles, every blog you can think of. And then the Big O shared it, Oprah Daily shared it. And that's when Walmart saw it and reached out and said, "Can we bring this brand in and create it as a licensed character in party supplies?" So because it was a full circle moment that we've been helping other brands launch, because Afro Unicorn's DNA is supporting other entrepreneurs. So if you rocked our shirt and you posted a picture, we're going to talk about your brand and what makes you unique, divine, and magical, and why people should support you and why people should, follow you. So that's how we started the brand. And so it came full circle back because Cassidy, who we have been supporting since she was 2 years old on her journey to become an influencer or brand ambassador, she was noticed. So my partner, Askia, reached out and said, "You know what, let's write a story about Cassidy and about how it happened." And we did. It launched 2 weeks ago. It was the #1 release for Amazon. And she's going to be going into major retail this July with the book. So we're just working on just building out her entire brand and bringing her into the licensing world. A lot of times, well, all the times, we don't know what licensing is, and it's just a way to work smarter, not harder, where you can get your products mass. When I tell you I have a lot of products, we probably have over 300, that's probably even low.
500.
Yeah, as far as items and SKUs that we have. So there's no way I would be able to, have a warehouse and producing it. And I really wouldn't want to do it that way. My counterparts that I do know that are well, they're not even manufacturing, everyone's going to China, but the ones that aren't licensing and they are getting into retail, they're being granted, a few hundred stores. We're being granted a few thousand stores. And the way we're able to do that is through licensing. It's so important. And again, Askia and I are doing everything that we can to understand this industry so then we can reach back and pull others through as well. Yes, Askia.
There's a couple questions.
Add to that too. I think when you earlier when you were talking about the brand and the placements, right? I think a lot of the things a lot of other businesses aren't understanding is the support that comes behind it, because by us being the first one, we're heavily judged on sales. We're judged next to these big brands that have millions of dollars in marketing, animations. I saw someone else had made a comment about animations, and yes, we did a studio deal, so that should be coming early. We're hoping for the end of 24, but realistically maybe the early 25 for animated series. We're also working on live action series with April, where she will be going through with younger entrepreneurs and just showing how unique and magical divine they are and their ideas, and a more of a Sesame Street meets Mr. Rogers type of idea, right? But just going back, it's like with us doing what we're doing now, and also hearing from Disney and Nick and how some of the urban properties that they own aren't doing well, and how they're trying to figure out what we're doing, but also this helps with the representation part, but everyone really getting behind our brand to the point to where we can keep ushering in more people for licensing.
You
Yeah, I
brought
see.
up, there were a couple of questions in the chat that I think Askia referenced to. So I'll just start with the top of them. What are your top pillars for brand building prior to being in major retailers?
Oh, it was the consistency effort. I show up every single day on Instagram. I post 3 times a day minimum. Um, I'm always marketing, always talking, always wearing. Like, that is what got our eyes on the brand, was all of the marketing efforts that we put into it in the beginning with being consistent. My biggest sale, it was marketing and also sales, was we highlighted other people that wore our stuff. So from the beginning, we would post this person and say if it's Crystal, we'll say, look at Crystal, she's rocking her Afro Unicorn tee, but be sure you subscribe to all of her podcasts, make sure you follow her, and this is what makes her unique, divine, and magical. So from the beginning, people were like, oh, if I go buy her shirt and if I wear it, she's going to post me and talk about my business. And so that's how this wildfire happened. And then we launched in May. By July, I also make sure that I would comment in other people's comments that call themselves unicorns or Black unicorn. I would just jump in their comments and say, hey, have you ever seen an Afro unicorn before? I created a brand of women of color who hustle, follow the movement. And then from there, they will click over like, oh, I'm already a unicorn and she has products for us. And I did that in Tiffany Haddish's comments in July. And she was like, if you send me this shirt, I'm going to rock the heck out of it. Here's my address. And we sent it to her. She had it on within a week. And then from there, Alicia Keys, and then Sherry Shepherd. And I don't pay any celebrities to rock or support Afro Unicorn. I found what resonated with them, and I went to go find my audience. I did not try to force my products on my non-audience. I went to go find my audience and I engaged with them. So that was the pillar for building the brand prior to major retail. Someone asked, were banks or other financial institution resources part of your success? No.
Okay.
Licensing is actually something you can do without having initial capital. That's why it's so important what we're doing, and so important that we learn this game, that we're able to share it with other people. I tend to talk about this infamous interview with Kanye and Sway about 8 years ago, where Kanye basically and Sway got into it, and he's yelling at Sway, telling Sway that he didn't have the answers. And Kanye basically said, Sway, I'm trying to understand how the Calvin Kleins and the Ralph Laurens are doing it. They're out there and I'm not getting there. They're not giving me the information. And Sway responds, well, Kanye, you're a millionaire. You got all the money. Go get you a warehouse. Go make your own shirts, make your own products. Kanye's response was, you ain't got the answers. I lost 27 million trying to do it that way. Like, that's not it. Like, you don't have the answers. And I think the frustration was because Kanye really didn't know the answer, because the information really wasn't getting to him. And then we fast forward 6 years later, he signs a licensing deal with Adidas and he becomes a billionaire. So I'm trying to tell you what we're doing is on a whole nother level. And it's really game changing. Now, where the banks can help me further would be on the marketing side, because my competitors, Disney, Marvel, and Nick, they have billion-dollar marketing budgets. We're I don't have that. I'm relying on my grassroots efforts, and hopefully everybody on this podcast or live stream will go tell somebody to go buy Afro Unicorn so we can keep it flowing and keep it going. But I don't have what they have, but I can do a lot with a little, and that's what we're doing right now. But initially, you do not need capital to start a licensing brand.
You know, you're so right. The Zumba craze was started by Beto Perez, and that's what he did. He licensed the Zumba and everything that went with Zumba, and no one can do anything with Zumba unless you pay him. And there's a licensing fee. All the instructors have to be instructed through him. The music has to come through him, and he has like a whole building full of legal people that make sure that you're complying to that whole thing. And he did it all through licensing. And the man is worth $30 million right now.
I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah.
Colette,
Great.
did you get your question answered about licensing versus direct manufacturing?
It's easier. There we go. And you
Yeah.
don't lose a lot of money doing it.
Next question up is, how do you monitor brand or licensing violations?
So Askia is the general manager. We also hired, I hired in a project manager to manage the licensees. And we also have an agency that manages the licensees, and then my project manager manages the agencies. So, and then I'm always in these streets. Like I will pop up on a Target, TJ Maxx, anywhere. And if I see something, hopefully I shouldn't see anything because they already know. And they know I'm not the one or the two. I meet with all my licensing partners. I have to speak directly with the CEOs so we can have an understanding. Not everyone is going to have the advantage to hold the Afro Unicorn license. Like we have to go through a whole ceremony where we see if you're the right fit for Afro Unicorn. So we try to make sure that we get the right partners involved. Again, and it's, when I tell you it's a small knit community, they're either related or they know each other. So everyone, all the probably over $50 billion worth of product that you see in the market space, probably even 100 billion, is all produced within about 45 companies.
Wow. Greg, Colette had a question, a couple questions.
Right. So the next one is, how did you plan for and grow your team?
So when I first started, it was just me and my son. I call him my COO. He's only 16 now. He'll be 17 in August. And Jesse's just really bright. So he's been my rock. You know, we've been pressing shirts in the kitchen together. And then I brought on a social media manager. That was probably like my first person that I brought on to help me with all the posts. And because I'm really into engaging, like it's important that not only do people like comment, but you respond back to them because people want to know that you're real, that you're authentic. So I hired a social media manager, Kalia. And then when I talked to Walmart, they're like, okay, so when we meet with you, we want to meet with your team. And I'm like, my team? It's just me and my baby here. And Kalia does a little something on the side. So I brought Kalia in. I said, Kalia, can you come into this meeting? So she came to the meeting. So we made it seem like we had a team. And then when they started talking all the information about royalties and MG and just a foreign language, I knew Askia from a previous business. So I reached out to him because he's in the music industry. And I'm like, look, I know you've heard of royalties, you've heard of MGs before. Like, I don't know what these people are talking about, but they're asking me like, what's my rate? And I don't know what to tell them. Can you tell me what I should tell them? And he said, well, let me find out the information. One thing I love about Askia is that a lot of times people will try to just tell you something, but if he doesn't know, he's just going to be like, let me go find out. Let me find who knows. And so he found the right person, which was JoJo Siwa. She's a huge brand, her former attorney. And that gentleman gave Askia some pointers and then told us to watch The Toys That Made Us on Netflix. So we watched The Toys That Made Us on Netflix. And then I brought in an attorney to help me with contracts. And then I brought Askia on as a general manager. And then maybe 6 months after, I started to get stressed out and brought on an executive assistant. So every time I brought on someone, it was because I felt like I was doing too much. And then I read a book called Who Not How. And when I read that book, Who Not How, every time I like sat back and thought about how I could figure something out, I said, let me figure out who I can hire to be in this position. And so then I think that's how we really have expanded. And it's such a cool thing. When we have a weekly Zoom call to see, like, we went from the 3 of us to now is like 6 or 7 of us. And then we have a whole nother arm with our agency. But it's really cool. Like, we're all 7 of us are going to Vegas for Licensing Expo in June, in a couple of, well, we're in June, in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm loving it. That's how I built it.
Greg, I'm gonna jump in here 1 minute. So what you're doing far as making the image of your likeness, and I think there's a correct question from Rick that will also relate to this. Normalizing that there are other individuals or other humans on this planet that look differently is amazing. If we all were operating in the vein of what you're doing, then the big hoopla about Halle being a Black Ariel wouldn't even be a conversation.
Correct.
Because first of all, it's a mystical character, so it doesn't have a color.
Right. Well, I can go on to Holly. The whole Little Mermaid is based in the Caribbean, so I didn't even understand why we was confused to begin with. But go ahead.
We confused on a lot of stuff. We confused on Cleopatra as well.
Okay.
But at least there are people out there confused on Cleopatra as well. But if we normalize that this world is made up of multiple ethnicities, multiple nationalities, and if we see it, and if our children see it, then it should become commonplace. So
correct.
I really commend you, and I really like how committed you are to your brand and making sure that the brand stays prevalent and relevant out there, because that also helps keep my volume was low. That also keeps the information better. Okay. Yeah. When I do a different type of platform, my volume goes low, but I commend you on everything that you're doing. I think this is the way that, far as us as a people or any ethnicity, normalizing that there are more, everything is not black and white. Everything's brown, beige, the whole spectrum, right? The Crayola crayon box is what the world looks like. So I commend you on that. So Greg, I jumped in there, but go ahead with the question from
Rick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Rick, we actually are developing in our storyline. We do have already a Hispanic unicorn. Her name is Dreama. That's an exclusive right here. So we're definitely bringing in not just like you said, it's an inclusive brand, and we're all different shades and colors. You'll see some of that when we drop the first books in the fall, that you're gonna be like, oh wow, they weren't joking when they said that they were an inclusive brand. But we are. So yes, the model is going to be taken all the way across the boards. What are the prerequisite steps to prepare for licensing? Are you open to talk for teens in LA? Yeah, I'm always open to talk to teens. I love talking to teens. The prerequisites is hard work, but no, seriously, you got to have a trademark brand. That's the number one. Like, whatever it is, has to be patented, has to be trademarked in order to be licensed. So if it's not trademarked, if it's not patent, it cannot be licensed. So that is a prerequisite. But far as me and Askia, how I'm concerned about the next brands that we represent, I have to see that you're dedicated to building your brand. And if I don't see it, I won't work with you.
Okay. Makes sense.
I can tell she's a what do you call it, CEO, chief everything officer, because she's self-moderating. She's going in the questions into the chat. Sometimes we have guests, they have no idea what even the chat is, what's in there, and you've been going in there. So what's the end game? What's the exit plan? What's next? I mean, where does the Afro Unicorn go from here? Is it developing? Is it to sell it off? Is there something else that you're working on? What's kind of like the exit strategy and what's next, if there is something next?
So I told Askia 2 years ago that the exit plan was retiring in 2 years. That's no longer the plan. I built Afro Unicorn to sell Afro Unicorn when I first launched the brand because I didn't know about licensing. So I thought that in order for me to get this brand to be a worldwide household name, I would have to sell the brand to a Mattel or Hasbro or something like that for them to get it out there. But now that I know the licensing world and I can still sit as that CEO, 100% owner of the brand, I don't have the idea to sell the brand anymore. It would be pointless for me to actually sell it unless that number was like, what was our number? I think I gave him a number like 100 million. Yeah, probably like 100 million. But there's no desire. So the next steps is to build the life experience with Afro Unicorn. We want the Afronia amusement parks. We want the activity fun centers. We want the hotels and the water parks. Like, we want to be the next best Disney. So that's the direction that we're going in.
So 150 million would get your attention then, right?
I don't know. I had a number, but this is going to be $1 billion. Like, it's going to be a unicorn brand. It's going to hit the billion. So I think we will be selling short, even at 100 million, we will be selling short.
Awesome.
And then on to the next awesome project, right?
Yeah, just living in Paris. That's it. That's the next awesome project. No, it would be building other brands, but we're doing that now.
Paris, France, or Paris, California?
Definitely France.
April, I teach a entrepreneur course to kids every summer, and we teach 50 kids every summer. In fact, we're gearing up into June 12th is our first class. We're going to be teaching over in El Segundo. I would love for you to come talk to our kids. They're between the ages of 13 and 18, coming out with the whole concept for them is to create a business, and then we help them actually launch the business. They are actually in a competition. At the end of the 3 weeks, they will have a business plan and they will pitch that before judges. And we bring in mentors and coaches to work with the kids. The kids get paid to participate, $200 as a stipend, and then the prize is $750, $500, and $350. And then the next year they compete for $2,500. It actually has gone up to $10,000 as they continue through the process. I would love for you to come talk to the kids.
Who's sponsoring that?
So this year we're sponsored by PNC Bank. This is a project that I do with the Los Angeles Urban League. We've been teaching it for 18 years. And so every summer we go out and recruit kids from all over LA County, South LA, and we bring the kids in. We give them equipment. It's a program, a curriculum we use called Network for Teaching Entrepreneurship. And so they are affiliated with both, they are alums of both LA Urban League as well as NIFTY. And so that that gives us the ability to continue to do the competitions, and the competitions are the motivation in order to keep the kids engaged and to bring them capital in order to grow their business. So
let's definitely talk offline. That particular week we are out of town, but I am available that following week. But we recently did something with the 100 Black women, the Phoenix chapter, and we did like a Shark Tank where I donated 5,000 for the winners. So cool. I would definitely like to talk to you about that.
Yeah, so we do it from it's a whole month, 2 months, June. So you don't have to do both, but one or whatever. We can bring the kids all in. We're live this year, so it's June 12th to the 30th. So we can talk offline and find a appropriate date. And then in July, we're doing from the 10th of July to the 27th of July.
Perfect. Someone asked the question. I do want to answer it because they said, "What do I do about pirates? Like pirate goods outside of here?" I am. I'm dealing with it now. There is a company out there that has totally tried to come and take the Afro Unicorn brand, and I took it to federal court. So that's where we are right now.
Okay.
I don't play games. So if you see something out there that's not Afro Unicorn, please do not purchase it. Do not buy it because it's not Afro Unicorn.
So now what is the distinction that's between yours and somebody pirating? How would we know that?
The words. Our brand is
Okay.
called
The
Afro Unicorn.
Okay.
We're
All
not
right.
Black Unicorn. We're not nothing else. We are Afro Unicorn. If it does not, if you didn't get it from the Louis store, it's not a Louis.
Okay.
So
gotcha. Greg, there's some more questions. You want to take it?
Yeah, I know, because let's see. Uh, Next question is, do you do your own artwork or do you work with an artist?
we work with artists. I don't know how to draw.
You're so honest.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I just know how to direct. Like I have an eye. I also have an ear when it comes to music. I just know how to direct.
Are
That's
your
it.
products being sold internationally or are you expanding globally? What's happening?
So we are in Canada. We're at Walmart Canada now. Askia and I are attending the licensing expo in London in October. So hopefully we'll be expanding into the territories that I immediately want to go into is South Africa. I want to go into India and the UK. So that's going to be our main focus.
Stephen?
Okay.
Oh, he's on mute.
My question is twofold. Number one, first of all, I applaud you. The question is, tell me about how you were able to get CBS News, Essence Magazine, and some of the other publications. And then the last part of the question is, what resources are you looking for, human resources, to get to the next level, whether it be HR, technology, etc.
So we were able to lock in a lot of the interviews with a publicist. Like I hired a publicist, and it's all about relationships. So once you do like a big interview like Gayle King, and that happened to be like our first one out the gate, which was pretty amazing, it's kind of easy to get more interviews. And I'm on every, like if you send a request and say you want to interview me, I'm like, okay, I'm showing up. Because to answer the latter question, like how to help me, is me being present in brand representation. And the more people that know about the brand, the better our sales will do. Because again, we're competing against Disney, Nick, and Marvel. So we have a part of my staff is a publicist. Like I have an on staff publicist that writes and who's constantly, if I'm flying into a city, it needs to make sense. Like if I have, like if we're going to Vegas for licensing expo, I need her to book morning news while we're there. Like I want to maximize our time. We went to Kansas City. I think Askia and I were there for 72 hours. We did 2 morning shows, maybe 2 days. We did 2 morning shows, 1 radio, 1 evening show, and an event with Girls Inc. And I went to go meet our publishers. So we maximize our publicity time that we're there. So whatever city I pull up to is like, let's reach out to local media and see who's going to cover this story.
Wow. April, would you be open to Askia sharing a few minutes about what he does and your background?
Yes, because he has an exciting brand that I want him to talk about. So go ahead, Askia, take it away.
Yeah, well, I'm not as good as a speaker as you guys are. I actually thought this was a Zoom meeting, so when I popped on here and I saw live in Facebook, I was like, "Oh, what's going on?" I'm texting.
It is a Zoom meeting, Askia. It's just Broughton. It's just like April.
Just us. Just talk like it's just us right here.
But when I heard Mr. Sneed's voice, I was like, he's definitely in radio, and this is real. And I already knew how Crystal talked from the last time, so I was like, oh man. So. Well, my name's Askia Fountain. I've been in entertainment business probably going on 20 years now, from multiple different record companies and management of different major artists, all the way to marketing and now brands, because I think the idea when I first met April was really on book publishing, because everything that I want to do is always building towards kids and education and literacy. I just feel like there's a big lack of it in ownership and development, everything. Like, like you said earlier, I think someone said, like, we're the last ones for the information, but I mean, technically, I mean, we're not. The information is everywhere. We just got to empower these kids to think outside the box and utilize the resources that are in front of them and try to um, give them new experiences and thing. I think that's like a lot of the things that change a lot of the direction of all of us on this call. Is something inspired us to go into a different way and a different path and to want to be into the industries and the fields that we're in. So that's how April and I met during the book publishing side, and then we ended up, 2 years later, developing out this amazing brand and helping other entrepreneurs as well. And the process, the one she's talking about, I created brand that I just did on Father's Day called Proud Black Girl Dad. So I have 2 girls, and everyone kept saying, they know I travel, I'm all over the place. I probably do maybe 150 flights a year, and I'm never really home. And they're like, well, how do you spend so much time with your daughters? I'm like, well, one lives in Long Beach, another one lives in Atlanta. So I'm like, every month I'm back and forth. It doesn't even matter what it is. I don't miss birthdays. I don't miss anything that they're doing. And it made me realize that um, maybe there's a lack in representation for fathers and men, especially being Black men today, that I was like, I want to create something that spotlights, shows that we are here and we are present, and and just highlight it and build it all the way from just like monthly events, mental health, wellness, literacy, just getting men together first to then cover their work on their basis so that then they could be properly supportive to their families.
Mhm.
Um,
In true LA style, where you from? Where'd you grow up?
if I grew up I was born in Michigan. I was raised in Chicago, but my parents ended up moving to Marina Del Rey. So I would spend my summers in Cali because they were in the music entertainment business as well. So I would go back and forth, and then I just ended up just being with my grandmother. So I kind of grew up in Chicago until she passed, and I've been in Atlanta ever since. And then bi-coastal. I mean, I've lived in New York and LA too for the last 10 years, back and forth.
So you're in the ATL now? That's where you live, or?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Gotcha. And so what I see in the background, what is Goat Talk? What is that?
So in 2020, me and 2 of my partners, we created a distribution company during COVID for music and entertainment, and it's another Black-owned company. Um, and we ended up doing Goat Talk is Bootsy's album. So we did Bootsy's most successful album out of being a major label, and he was one of our marquee artists that we started out with. So we did his albums. The new one's coming out next week, and we put out his film, which called My Struggle, that we did direct to download in 24 hours, did $5 million. So we just started just keep expanding on that brand and media, and just in all going back into representation and ownership, because it's hard to get these artists to understand their rights and the property and ownership, and they're just so caught up in name brands, and they're willing to go sign anything to just for money. But sometimes it's just understanding the deal and understanding what makes sense, because it's hard to tell somebody that's coming from any projects or whatever, not to take the 50,000 or whatever they're trying to offer them when they've never seen that kind of money. But it's also, they're not smart enough to put the right people around them, at least negotiate that, to say, create a better deal for yourself, saying that this is the level I'm at right now, but put options on it where there's a term within 1 or 2 years that we should be able to renegotiate this, and I should be able to get whatever my true value is and not be stuck into these deals forever.
Cool. Colette, did you have something that you wanted to ask or volunteer in terms of PCR? PCR is one of our sponsors, and Colette Moore is one of the key people there. I forget what your title is. What's your title again? I know you're.
No, Greg, I'm just so excited about
Isn't she amazing?
Afro Unicorn. You guys are killing it. April, Askia, you guys are working hard. And so it's really inspiring. If we can be of assistance as part of the SBDC at any point, or if ever you do need funding, we can assist as well. That's what we do for small businesses. But you guys sound like you have a great model. And if we can be of any assistance on, happy to do it for advising or funding.
Yeah, I think I sent the contact card in the thing. I think, let's have some more dialogue, because maybe if it's not for us, there's always so many entrepreneurs and so many different people that come that we could easily pass that over. A lot of, like April touched on earlier, is as we're trying to work with Black manufacturers and get them in the space, sometimes they don't understand, because most of the time they're getting offered 100 doors or 50 to 100 doors to start, and we're like, no, we want to do a license, but you're going to get 3,000 doors, but now you got to do 3,000 times X amount of units, and they're like, well, how am I going to do that? So that's sometimes funding may be important in that space where it may be opportunities. We're looking, like she said earlier, we're looking into live action. We're looking at hotels right now. We're looking into different venues that we want to start taking this urban experience to have it more available to kids. There's, for years we've went to the same places. It's like, you go to these places and it's magical for them, but where's our magic? It's like,
Exactly.
And the comfort level, right? It's like you're going to Disney and so many of these other parks, and you see so many things that happens. It's like, there's a lot of the issues that will happen at those places won't happen at ours, because it's going to really be inclusive for everybody.
Cool.
I have
Arnetta just clued me in that Colette's title is boss.
So we figured that when you said sponsor and cut the check, so we already knew that.
I have a friend that has just he's a mover and a shaker, but he's talking about building an amusement park in South Africa around a vineyard that he just bought. So if you guys want to have some conversations with him, I'm going to be seeing him this afternoon for his son's graduation.
That's definitely the next phase of international, because I know we've been talking to, she just did an interview for South Africa, but we've been talking to some of the brand reps out in different territories, and that would actually be perfect.
Okay, I will talk to him this afternoon. We got something big about to happen, so he would be looking for these kind of connections. And his wife is from South Africa, so he really has an affinity to South Africa. You guys are absolutely amazing. April, the whole branding thing, and I think that's, I do a lot of business coaching. Colette does a lot of business coaching. There's a number of us. Joseph, we're all here, right? And the one thing that's always inconsistent with all of our businesses is the marketing and the branding, right? They're so one-off, right? They'll start, or they have an aversion to, no, I can't be on Facebook, I can't be on Instagram, or it's too much work, it's whatever it is. But at the same time, they're always saying to me, Crystal, you're everywhere. Yeah. That's how else do you get business if you're not everywhere? So, but I don't know. Go ahead.
I was just having a conversation about that with someone, and they were, when you go look at the most successful people and you look at what they're doing, and you notice, like, I actually see them on everything, and they're like, well, they're already rich. Like, they don't have to go and promote and do certain things, but they're actually doing it. So if they're doing it, you have to do it times two.
Exactly. So people come up to, I think Devon was on from a few minutes ago, and he saw me at the Urban League dinner. He's like, girl, I see you everywhere. I don't even have to talk to you. I already know what you're doing. So that's part of branding, is making sure you're always out there in the limelight, knowing that people know that you're working for whatever your passions are. And so in addition to our youth, we need you to be talking to our adult business owners. And especially, we got the World Cup coming to Los Angeles. We got the Olympics coming to Los Angeles. Folks need to be on point right now. I know for the World Cup, they're talking 4 million people are going to be in and around Inglewood. We need to be on top of that. We need to make sure we got 2 years for that and 4 years for the Olympics. So the brand thing is really, really important. So April, how did you, I know you were in the insurance business. Greg's in the insurance business. I've been in the insurance business. Joseph's been in the insurance business. I do know they do work heavily on the brand, but you kind of stepped out of the normal space of branding. How did you go about doing that?
Oh,
She stepped
texting me
away.
right now.
Where-
She's coming right back. She had to step away for 2 seconds.
Okay. Well, you can probably answer.
Well-
You know her.
Well, I think, she didn't step away. She still runs her State Farm business. And going back to the marketing part, it's like she even gets on me about it because, if you follow her, you see she's very consistent on posting. And I'm like, I've just started. She's like, "Oh, you're not posting enough." I'm like, "Well, don't you got a company to run? Why are you worried about what?" So she's a micromanager when it comes to that, but it's all in passion because she knows, like, she's very driven, but she still runs that State Farm business, which is like, she doesn't sleep. Like, we'll still exchange text messages at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, and sometimes I'm up, I'm up all the time. So I think it just when the friend called her a unicorn and she started researching it, she started diving into it, into the whole passion about giving back in businesses and the other younger creators. Like, when I first met her, she does the Small Business Saturdays, and there was little kids making 3D vendor toys for her before we were even thinking about. We were like, "Oh, we were already talking about toys, but these kids are already ahead of us with what they're doing." And so it's just, I think it started with the passion, and she just got behind all the other businesses and just continues to grow, but she's still running both.
Awesome. Awesome. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much. She just indicated she had to jump off because she has another meeting.
Yeah.
We truly want to have some more conversation with you. Stephen, I'll get her phone number. And I want to make that introduction to my friend, to you guys, for the international piece. And there may be some other areas because he's kind of he's in Ghana as well. He's got a business partner in Ghana and some other parts of Africa. So might be some definitely synergy there for you guys. All right, Greg, back to you. Stephen, did you want to tell us who's going to be here next week?
Yes. First of all, again, we want to thank Afro Unicorn for coming on the show. It kind of resonated with the mission of this platform is about. It's showing to self-entrepreneurs and business owners the next level. If you like what we had today, wait till next week. Because as you know, June is National Homeowners Month, and we're privileged to have the Regional Administrator of the United States Housing and Urban Development, HUD, Jason Pooh, will be our guest. And Jason's over 5 states, California, Nevada, Oregon, Hawaii, and Arizona. And he's going to talk about the footprint of HUD, how he's going to make homeownership a reality in communities of color, particularly in the Black community. So stay tuned next week, June 8th.
Awesome. All righty, Greg, you want to close us on out? We want to thank you guys. You guys were awesome. And please come back, and we're gonna. I definitely need to connect you guys to our kids, because I need them to know how to go about this whole branding piece, which would make it so much easier for them instead of manufacturing, and as well as our business owners. All right, Greg.
Oh, you did it. You did it.
Oh, okay. All righty. So. All righty. So we're closing down, guys. For those of you that are having a birthday this month, happy birthday. This is my second favorite month of the year because it's my mom's birthday on the 2nd. And everybody, if they weren't born in May, which is half my family, then the other half of the family is born in June. So I will be celebrating that month with everybody as well. I want to thank you guys for coming. This was a great conversation. Devon, thank you for popping in. And hopefully we'll see you again. And with that, guys, have a fantastic week. Congratulations to all of you that have children and young people and that are graduating from college and middle school and elementary school and high school. Wishing them well and wishing you well as well. So we will see you guys next week for our next fantastic guest. And you can always go over to our the Community Briefing YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, and every time we upload a video, you will get a notification. Oh, one thing before you guys jump off, for those of you that attended the Crenshaw Corridor meeting that we had, there is a link that I need you. We'd love for you guys to give us some critique. It's a forum survey. So if you guys would do that for us, it's just a quick one. It doesn't take. It's not even painful, guys. Just like subscribing is not painful. Just go over there and hit that button. Doesn't cost you a dime. If you love us, then we'd love you to go over there and hit that button.
Survey says.
Survey says. We'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye. Hey, Bianca. Okay.
Stop the recording. There we go.